I bought a modern 9.8 slab from a YouTube comic book influencer at the height of the comic boom. And I was still able to sell the book for a profit recently. Why? What book? Let's talk about it on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hello, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. Before we get started, I'll do that all like, comment, subscribe stuff. Check out the description, eBay store, email, whatnot, Instagram, all those links. I'm back from my Olympic hiatus, completely and thoroughly enjoyed sitting on my couch for 2.5 weeks, watching the Olympics. And I would say, some people would say watching sports, they don't watch the other 3 years and 50 weeks, but I watched a lot of these sports year round. I'm somewhat of an expert on the Olympics. I probably know more about the Olympics than I do about comic books. And some of you out there say, well, because you know nothing about comic books. I know how people can be. Anyway, I want to talk about a specific book. And we're going to put it here. It's this book here. Infamous Iron Man #1 from 2016. It's when Dr. Doom gets the Iron Man armor. It was a well-regarded run. I haven't read it. So anyway, long story short, right? Back in the comic book heyday of 2021, and I keep pretty good track of what I spend on specific comic books or collections. Usually in a really large collection, I'll just say, you know, the total dollar amount divided by the total number of books, and I paid X amount per book. Or if it's a smaller collection with bigger keys that I kind of paid up for, I'll prorate it based on the fair market value at the time, with adjustments, you know, for books that are kind of under $5 or $10, not worth as much. Anyway, but this is a book I specifically bought, right? And a 9.8. I don't buy a lot of already slammed books. But it was 2021. Everything was going crazy. This was going to be a key. This was going to be the next big thing. So I bought a copy of Infamous Iron Man #1. Bryce Comics was selling 9.8s, and I guess he had gotten a bunch of them, and he was speculating on this book. And other people were as well. This was hitting lists because people were trying to put all sorts of threads together as to what's going to be in the MCU. And yeah, Omega Red and goodness knows who else. So, you know, for a more modern book, they were making kind of stretches. You know, Tony Stark was dead in the MCU. Could he come back as AI? And that was more of the driving factor behind its key significance at the time. So Bryce Comics was offering a special, talking about his YouTube channel. I go, that sounds like a great deal. So I bought a copy from Bryce Comics, a 9.8, everything included, tax, shipping, etc. I bought it on, I either bought it or received it. The date I have is December 29th, 2021. We're right in the middle of the comic boom, right? And I paid all in $186.69. And boy, did that look like a disaster for the longest time. But then, San Diego Comic-Con, Hall H, Kevin Feige's up there. Not a lot of surprises in his Hall H announcements this year. But then all of a sudden, Dr. Doom, boom! It's Robert Downey Jr. Everybody goes crazy. Everybody is speculating like mad, and this book jumps from about a $60 book up to $250. Like, boom, right away. I said, now is the time to get rid of this book. I listed it on eBay for $249. Within hours, I had a couple of offers for like 225, 200 or whatever, and then somebody grabbed it up for the full 249 asking price. And when you take away taxes and fees, and I did, because it was over $200, I do extra insurance that I pick up on the books, and yeah, I sold it. When you clear away the fees, I sold it for $210.33. I made a whopping $23.64 on the book. Still more than 10% return on investment. But this is one of those books sitting in my slab boxes that I thought I would never get rid of, right? And it's still kind of selling for in excess of $200, but this book has had an insane journey. Like a lot of books, it went crazy, especially a lot of modern books in the comic book. And then people realize, well, geez, I can maybe get a raw copy for $20, $15, thereabouts. Looking, patience enough. Submit it, get the 9.8. Now, there aren't a ton of 9.8s out there. There are 736 universal blue labels on the CGC census. About 3/4 of them are 558 or 9.8s. But this book had gone under $100, right? And what we saw, this book, the last time, prior to the Robert Downey Jr. announcement, the last time it sold for $100, more than $100, was on October 15th of 2022, almost 2 years ago. Now, that's not a big period of time in the grand scheme of things, but just in this kind of boom/post-boom era of comic books. And face it, listen, in 2019, there weren't a whole lot of people doing comic book YouTube content. Not a whole lot. That there were more and more and more that did it during the boom, and some people have gotten in and out. I've kind of stayed here because it's something I enjoy. But then the price came down, right? There was an eBay auction. I'm looking at the numbers on Go Collect. There was an eBay auction where a 9.8 at auction, I mean, it was selling for $40, $50, $60. It was kind of in that range. Yeah. In March of this year, at auction, a copy sold for $15. $15. And this was a book that was well over $200 at its heyday. And compared to the fair market value at the time, I got a good deal, all in $186.69 when it was selling for over $200. And then Hall H happened. And initially, if you look, there were a lot of sales, right? There was a $71 sale on June 29th. And then on July 27th, sales, 9.8, CGC 9.8s, and this is in one day, that day, right? $75, $90, $80, $100. These are all books that are already, I'm sure, listed on eBay at fixed prices. People are like, I'll sell the book for $80. Keep going. This is still July 27th. 225, 190, 200, 110, 101, 75, 80, 100, 200, 99, 99, 130, 110, 130, 110. And then on the 28th, 300, 250, 250, 250, 250, 363, 290, 300, 250, 250, 250, 250, 363, 250, 250, 299, 299, 250, 250, 400, 299, 350, 250, 225. And somewhere in there was my 249. 250, 225, 239, 225, 308, 250, 257, 350, 250, 250, 250, 261, 250. And it's still going. I mean, we're talking now 253, 250, 246, 250, 235, 250, 218, 300, 230, 300, 220, 230, 203, 223, 218, 280, 250, 280, 250, 203, 225, 142, 250. That was an auction. The 142. 257, 229, 275, and then another auction for 202. That's the most recent sale on August 11th. So you can see book was moving, 200, 200, 200, 200. I am just glad because let's take a step back. I think people are still hungry. There are collectors that are still hungry to speculate on books. I'm growing more and more wary of modern 9/8s. They're not impossible to find in the raw form. And the volatility with this particular book, and we won't go into like second prints or anything like that, is incredible. I mean, this was a book that was a $60 book. And then it's now like a $250 book. I mean, one for $400? I think the moral of the story is be careful out there. Now let's take a look at this book. Where is this going? What is the key significance, true key significance of this book? There's no key significance on the CGC label, right? Dr. Doom becomes Iron Man, first appearance of Tony Stark as AI. Now, in the MCU, Dr. Doom is not becoming Iron Man. Iron Man's becoming Dr. Doom. I guess. But is Tony Stark Iron Man? Or is that Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man, or is he just playing Dr. Doom? It's very confusing. I don't know where they're going. Now, obviously, there has to be a connection between the two, I would think. I will say, if you're talking about, I kind of glossed over the idea of the variant covers for this book, but I do like the Mr. Miracle cover by Scotty Young. Tell me that doesn't look like Mr. Miracle. Tell me, folks, does that not look? It's Mr. Miracle, especially with the big thing, whatever. And that's about the same value, in the $250 range. It is kind of cool cover. But, yeah, I didn't just, kind of, I would not, I'm selling this book, not buying this book right now. And at least this gives me hope for like that Star Wars 42 that I have and some of those Riri Williams books maybe. We know when news hits, and especially when it's a surprise, it really pumps up the value of the books. Right? This speculation was, again, I said back in the day, more about the Tony Stark AI than Dr. Doom as Iron Man. I don't think a lot of people were anticipating that Robert Downey Jr. would be playing Dr. Doom. A lot of other actors were fan cast or speculated on. People thought that Downey Jr. was done with the MCU. Now, is there some sort of connection? Again, I don't know. We'll see how the storytelling bears that out. Overall, does this signal some health in the comic book market? Maybe. It does mean that people are out there willing to spend more money than they should be on certain books. And I think the excitement surrounding Deadpool Wolverine has propelled the market. We still have a little time to wait, right? Next July is when we're getting Superman and Fantastic Four. And I think that's going to be important in how we're looking at comic book movies going forward. And we'll see how the speculation aligns. Again, I made a mistake back in 2021, and I was certainly not alone in that regard. A lot of people made the same mistake. In terms of speculation, I'm really wary about buying into 9/8s. And there it was at the height. Will I get a raw copy at a good price and get a grade? Absolutely. Will I speculate on characters that I just want to speculate on? You've watched this. If you watch this channel, you've seen me pick up how many copies of She the Changing Man #1? How many first appearances of Checkmate have I gotten? Plenty. right? Rolling the dice. Who knows what's going to happen, right? It's not costing me a lot of money. It's not $200 laid out on one comic book. But it's kind of when to buy and when to sell. I thought this was the time to sell. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think this book has legs in terms of its value in a CGC 9.8? What's it going to be worth when the movie comes out? Maybe. I don't know. But I was just happy to take the profit I could and move on. Thank you for stopping by. You can take a look at a couple of my other videos here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.